The first scream came just as the morning bell echoed through Eastbrook Academy, bouncing off marble floors polished for wealthy parents who never stayed long enough to hear what happened after drop-off. "Read it." I said read it. A chair scraped. A whimper followed. Principal Emma Carter stopped halfway down the hall, every muscle locking tight. She knew that sound. Fear swallowed so fast it burned. She pushed open the classroom door. Mr. Hale's hand was clamped around a tiny girl's wrist. Her Korean name badge twisted sideways as she tried not to cry. The class sat frozen, eyes darting between their teacher and the stranger entering the room. Emma stepped inside, closing the door behind her. Her voice was calm, lethal. "Let her go." Mr. Hale didn't move. "Stay out of this, Carter. Children like her only learn when you hurt them," she cut in, taking one deliberate step forward. The girl's breath hitched. Hale's grip tightened. That was the moment everything in the room shifted. Power, fear, hierarchy, like a storm building with no warning. And within the next 10 seconds, Eastbrook Academy would witness the act that changed every life inside this room. Stay with us. Like the video and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales for the full story. The moment Emma stepped toward Mr. Hale, the room tightened like someone had drawn back a curtain on a secret no one wanted seen. His grip finally loosened, but only because he felt the shift in power, not because he regretted a thing. The little girl slipped her hand to her chest, rubbing the reddened skin. Her eyes still lowered as if lifting them might invite punishment. "Go sit with Maya," Emma murmured gently. The girl hesitated, then shuffled toward a quiet corner where another student reached out to make space. Mr. Hale exhaled sharply. "You don't get to march into my room and undermine my authority. You're an interim principal. Remember that." Emma didn't blink. "And you're a teacher who terrifies children. Remember that." The class pretended not to listen, though every ear in the room leaned toward their exchange. Mr. Hale's jaw muscles flexed under the fluorescent lighting. He stepped so close Emma could smell the stale coffee on his breath. "You're new here," he whispered sharply. "This place has rules. These kids need discipline or they'll bury you alive." "Discipline isn't the same thing as cruelty," Emma replied, voice steady. His eyes flicked to the Korean girl in the corner, a long, cold look that said everything. "Some children come from homes where they don't learn respect. I'm filling in the gaps." "You're hurting her," Emma said. "That isn't discipline. That's ego." For the first time, Hale's smile cracked. "Watch yourself. You have no idea who's on my side." But Emma had already decided. She wasn't backing down. She turned toward the class, her voice calm but firm. "Everyone take a 10-minute reading break in the courtyard." The children, sensing something unusual and heavy, packed their books in silence and shuffled out. When the last child slipped through the door, Emma closed it behind them. The latch clicking shut sounded like the beginning of a storm. "You think you win by shutting the door?" Hill scoffed. "I've worked here longer than anyone. Parents respect me. The board respects me. You're disposable." Emma leaned on the desk, every muscle controlled. "If you're so confident, why are your hands shaking?" That one hit. His fingers twitched at his sides. He glared at her as if she had seen something he'd fought hard to hide. "You're playing with your job," he snapped. "And you're playing with a child's safety," she returned. "Guess which one of us should be more afraid?" The intercom buzzed suddenly, making both of them jolt. "Principal Carter, we need you in the front office," the secretary's voice crackled. "I'll be there," Emma said, never taking her eyes off Hale. Then she walked out, leaving him alone in the silent room. But the moment she reached the hallway, her confidence wavered for a heartbeat. She inhaled deeply, forcing herself to stay grounded. She wasn't fighting just for the girl. She was fighting for every student who had walked these halls with fear tucked in their pockets. The front office was buzzing when she arrived. Parents gathered near the counter, whispering, upset. A Korean mother stood rigidly beside the secretary, clutching her purse in both hands like it anchored her. "That's her," the secretary said. This is Mrs. Kim, Hannah's mother. Emma approached slowly, offering a gentle nod. Mrs. Kim, I'm Emma Carter. I was with Hannah this morning. The woman's eyes filled with a mix of relief and exhaustion. My daughter. She came home yesterday with bruises. She said she fell, but I knew she was lying. She never lies unless she is afraid. Anger tightened Emma's throat. She's safe now. And what happened won't go unanswered. Before Mrs. Kim could respond, the office door swung open and Mr. Hale strode in, face flushed, tie crooked. You told parents, he barked. You accused me to people who don't understand how their kids behave. Please lower your voice, Emma said. He ignored her. This is harassment. I've dedicated 20 years to this school. And how many children have you harmed in 20 years? Emma shot back. Gasps rippled across the room. A father stepped closer as if ready to intervene. Hale's eyes darted around, panic creeping in. You have no proof. Emma opened her tablet. I documented everything when I walked into your classroom. Audio. Time-stamped photos of Hannah's wrist. I've already emailed the district investigator. Silence fell like a heavy curtain. Hale went pale. You have nothing without context, he muttered. Then let's invite context, a voice said behind him. The superintendent had walked in unnoticed. His stern expression left Hale visibly shaken. Mr. Hale, the superintendent said, I've received multiple complaints in the last year. Today makes 4. Hale sputtered. Those are lies. Children exaggerate. Enough. The superintendent's voice cut through the room. You are suspended pending investigation. Effective immediately. The office erupted in murmurs. Hale looked around desperately for support, but every parent turned away, refusing to meet his eye. Even the secretary stepped back. You can't do this, Hale choked out. Emma said nothing. She didn't need to. Security escorted him out. As he passed her, his voice dropped to a bitter whisper. This isn't over. Emma watched him walk out into the bright morning, each step revealing how small he truly was without fear to wield. The day should have felt victorious. But Hannah's silence stayed with Emma like a shadow. She found the girl later in the courtyard, tracing shapes on the bench with her fingertip. Can I sit? Emma asked. Hannah nodded. They sat in quiet together until Hannah whispered, barely audible. He said I was trouble. Emma shook her head gently. You're not trouble. You're brave. Hannah's eyes lifted for the first time, soft and searching. That moment, simple, fragile, felt more important than any suspension letter. But when dismissal time came, trouble resurfaced. Mr. Hale was waiting outside the gates. He wasn't close enough to break rules, but close enough for intimidation. When parents spotted him, they pulled their children closer. His stare landed on Emma like a challenge. The superintendent hadn't barred him from the premises yet. That would take paperwork. Too much paperwork. Emma met his stare without flinching. You think you've won, he called out softly just for her. When they replace you, I'll be back in my classroom. Emma didn't answer. She simply walked Hannah to her mother's car and gave the girl a reassuring smile before turning away. The next morning, the board convened an emergency meeting. Emma attended with documents, parent testimonials, and a swelling determination she felt in her bones. The room buzzed with tension as board members whispered behind folders. But when Mrs. Kim stood and spoke in halting English, the room softened. My daughter came to this country to learn, she said. She should not learn fear. Tears shimmered in several eyes. Then 3 more parents stood, one after another, detailing their own children's experiences with Hale's temper, his favoritism, his cold hands on trembling shoulders. By the time Emma presented her final piece of evidence, a recording of Hale muttering racial stereotypes under his breath while students packed their bags, the board no longer whispered. They stared in stunned silence. Principal Carter, the chairwoman finally said, you did the right thing. It felt like a weight slid from the entire room. That afternoon, the board issued their decision. Permanent termination. Teaching license revoked. Formal apology to the student body. Mandatory public report on misconduct. Federal Civil Rights Review initiated. The news hit Hale before lunch. Witnesses later said he staggered out of the district office like a man who had lost gravity, his anger collapsing under the weight of consequences long overdue. And something unusual happened in the days that followed. Students started smiling more. Halls seemed brighter. Parents lingered at pickups just to say thank you. But the moment that marked the true victory came a week later, during recess. Emma was scanning the playground when Hannah approached her, clutching a small blue origami bird. "For you," she whispered. Emma knelt so their eyes were level. "It's beautiful. What does it mean?" Hannah pointed to the bird's wings. "Free now." Those two words hit harder than any speech. After school, as Emma walked to her car, she saw Hale's photo plastered across a local news van screen. Former Eastbrook teacher faces state investigation for discriminatory conduct. Parents interviewed on camera spoke about change, about justice, about no child being silenced again. Hale himself was nowhere in sight. Emma didn't feel triumphant. She felt grounded, purposeful. This wasn't about revenge. It was about restoring something sacred. As evening settled over the school, she stood by the gate and watched families leave, chatting softly, unburdened. And behind her the building felt different. Not perfect but breathing again. The storm had passed, and everyone could feel the sunlight returning. But the story wasn't finished. Because tomorrow a new problem would surface, one connected to Hale's past, and to a truth Emma had only begun to uncover. And that was the part no one in Eastbrook was ready for. When the last news van rolled away and the school finally fell quiet, Emma remained by the courtyard gate, watching Hannah chase a drifting leaf across the pavement. There was no hesitation in the child's steps now, only lightness, as if the world had finally stopped pressing on her small shoulders. Emma hadn't expected the victory to feel like this. It wasn't triumph or pride. It was a slow, steady certainty rising in her chest. She had stepped into a broken system and realized she wasn't there just to fix a moment. She was there to open doors for every child who had learned to stay silent to survive. As Hannah ran back and slipped her hand into Emma's, something inside her settled. Change didn't announce itself with fanfare. It lived in quiet gestures like this, the kind that told her she'd chosen the right fight, and she wasn't alone in it anymore. A breeze swept through the yard, carrying the faint sound of children laughing. Emma looked up and saw the sun glinting off a blue origami bird someone had hung on the branch above the bench, a symbol of freedom, waiting for its wings to unfold. Thank you for watching this journey with us. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales so we can keep bringing you stories that matter.